Hello everybody, I am Sabine Brels, the manager of the Global Animal Law Project, and I'm really glad and honored to be here at Lewis and Clark Law School in Portland, Oregon in the United States with Russ Mead, who is animal rights lawyer and professor here, and thank you very much for being here with me today.
It's an honor.
Yeah, and so please tell us about you and how you became an animal lawyer.
Well, it's really a story. My wife and I adopted a dog like so many people do, and we were playing with the dog with another dog in the yard next door, and our guy jumped this little fence when the letter carrier came by and started barking at the letter carrier. Well, the letter carrier started hitting him with his mailbag, and then our guy bit the letter carrier. Not badly, but it was a bite. And then animal control came to take the dog away and confiscate him, saying he was a dangerous dog. But according to the laws, at least in Seattle, he wasn't dangerous because he'd been provoked, he'd been hit, and he was on his own yard. And so they did take him, and we would go visit him every day in the pound. And then one day we found that they were trying to euthanize him, even though they didn't have the legal right to do that. So we were furious, and we raised a big commotion and threatened to sue the city. And they ended up saying, well, if the dog can go to some sanctuary, then we'll let him live. And we thought that was a okay solution, even though we didn't think it was right. And a group called Best Friends Animal Society said that they would take him. It's the nation's largest no-kill sanctuary in the U.S. And they accepted him, and then we went down to visit him. And I just couldn't stand not being around my dog. So I closed down my law practice. My wife did the same. We practiced together. And we bought a house in this little tiny community of Kanab, Utah. And I started working for Best Friends Animal Society, making 1/10 of what we were making before as lawyers, so that we could go visit him every day. So that got us started. And then I started doing more and more work for Best Friends Animal Society, became their general counsel after a while, and then did some remarkable work for them. When Hurricane Katrina came, they tasked me with going to New Orleans and setting up a big rescue site. And we started off with just myself and 3 other people. And I brought this book, this Not Left Behind, is a coffee table book that was created that chronicles the first 2 weeks or so that I was there with these 3 other people. And then by the time we were done, we had 70 volunteers working at a time. We had rescued 6,000 animals.
Wow.
We had spent over $6 million and was the second largest rescue site, only behind the Humane Society of the United States. And so from that really launched my animal welfare work. Then it launched from that into large-scale rescues of hoarded animals. I set up an operation where we saved 700 cats from some institutional hoarders. And then, event after event happened where the organization charged me to go out, even though I was the lawyer, to set up these large-scale rescue operations, and then we got it started.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for all your work for the animals. I mean, we get such an incredible example, a living example. And I know you also have been working for the Farm Sanctuary, the first one in the U.S.
Yeah, so the Farm Sanctuary is the first farm animal sanctuary in the U.S. And when I left Best Friends Animal Society, I started getting interested in farm animals. Of course, the abuses that they sustain are just incomprehensible. And Farm Sanctuary highlights that by having farm animals that have been rescued from factory farms and let them live out their normal lives. And so I became general counsel for that organization, moved to New York, and actually became their executive director for a short time while we were looking for a new executive director. Our last one had left. And so I did that for years. And then after that, my wife and I started Animal Law Coalition, which is a group of concerned people all over the country, tens of thousands of members that come together looking for information about animal law. So we created a website and have had as many as 100,000 visitors to the site a month. And that's what we use now for our platform to do our animal advocacy work. So we moved back to Seattle, 6 years or so ago, maybe 5 years, and we do our animal advocacy work out of Animal Law Coalition. We practice law, conventional law, nonprofit law, because that's something that I know how to do from these general counsel jobs, and some employment law. And with that, then we're able to fund all of the animal welfare and animal rights work we want. So we pass bills across the country. If we help other organizations, right now we're trying to help a new sanctuary get started for wild horses that have been pulled off the BLM grounds, just whatever we're interested in. We draft legislation all over the country. We fly out there to wherever it is. We lobby. We try to get coalitions of people together and pass things. And we do all this from this platform of working as lawyers, and then don't call it on the side because it's a very integral part of what we do, but we do it alongside of a traditional law practice. And in terms of people watching this video, I think that's the absolute best way to help the animals if you're a lawyer. It's just so much easier when you don't have the constraints of an organization around you. So if my wife Laura Allen and I decide, we want to go work on a horse slaughter issue in some other state, we get on a plane and we do it. We don't have to ask anybody. We just do it. And if you're working for a nonprofit, there's agendas, there's protocols, there's all kinds of things. So I'm a strong believer that if you want to help the animals and you're a lawyer, spend 5 hours a week, 1 hour a day, doing whatever you're the most passionate about. And if you put in that amount of time, you can really accomplish things. You can accomplish so much more than you could if you even had a full-time job as an animal welfare lawyer, animal rights lawyer.
Thank you. Very strong messages and very inspiring. I hope you will remember what Russ just told us. And ultimately, what is your dream for the animals?
I just want them to live in peace. I mean, it's just simple. I just think of how I would want to live, and I want the animals to live in that same kind of mental state.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Peace for the animals, that's the last word of the video, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Russ.
Good,
and we hope to see you soon. Bye bye.
So long.